What up, Duncan? Welcome back to the show, man. It's an honor to finally get you on for an official interview.
No, I appreciate it, Ryan. It's a privilege to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into the questions, and we'll kind of snowball it from there.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a lawyer who is licensed in a few provinces in Canada. I've always kind of worked in the intersection of gaming and digital assets. That's always been my forte. So working on a project like this, I mean, it's a dream come true.
How long have you been in this type of industry? How long have you been in the sports betting industry? And what is your experience with law in the sports betting industry? Tell us a little bit more about your background.
So sports betting, I've been in since about 2008. I've been in all sides of it, from being a tout, which is basically giving away your picks and charging people, to building sportsbook and casino software, to working on these decentralized protocols like Kdabet. But in the intersection of law, I mean, that's been since 2015, really, that it's been a passion, focusing on the intersection of gaming, law, and obviously digital assets. So it's a really interesting, highly regulated space, but I love it.
And how do you feel with where regulations are going versus where they're at now? Is that something that's going to add value to your team, or do you think it's going to constantly always be like a never-ending? You guys kind of got the worst of both worlds. You got crypto regulations, and you got gambling regulations, then you got the best job, man. Job security.
You know what? You're absolutely right. Gaming is rightfully a highly regulated space. And look, you want to ensure that players have security, transparency, responsible gambling help if that's an issue for them. And so that's why it is very highly regulated. And then obviously the digital asset side of things, well, the first token sale hype train came in around 2016. And that was a really interesting time because existing security laws basically had no idea how to handle these token sales. And they still don't, but they're slowly evolving. And I think the governments worldwide are being careful, and they don't want to take missteps. And that's why things may take a little slower than entrepreneurs or ambitious innovators in the space want it to. But the reality is there's existing laws, and it's up to the players who want to play in that arena to comply with them.
That's really interesting, man. I think it's kind of cool how everybody's trying to navigate this space and figure. I kind of figured out as it go. It's if you wait too long, you get left behind, right? So if you take no action, you kind of get left behind. But if you take action, you might be putting yourself in a bad position. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I think all you can do is prudently ensure you're complying with laws. Check with lawyers, make sure they're telling you that what you're doing is on side. But basically, you're right. You can't just sit on the sidelines.
How did Kdabet start, and how did you get involved with Kdabet from the start? Did they contact you, or is this like a group of you guys were already buddies? You guys known each other from being in the space together? Give us a little insight into that.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan. I'm smiling because it's actually a really fun story for me to tell, because it was some of the best times of my life that led to the genesis of Kdabet. So I was a founder and chief operating officer of a company called FansUnite Entertainment. FansUnite is still a really cool company. They're publicly traded up in Canada. But there we hired a really interesting lead developer named Stephen Rothwell, who you guys may know. But Steve and I back then, we had the dream of building a decentralized betting protocol. So obviously there's degrees to decentralization, but we were ambitious. This was back in 2016. And we thought even data supply could be done by people instead of by companies like Sportradar or Genius. And back then, the only blockchain to really build on was Ethereum. And so we wrote the white paper, we wrote the yellow paper, we incorporated a subsidiary in Gibraltar. We were pretty much at the point where all we had to do was push the green button to launch the token. And then we realized that it just wasn't feasible on Ethereum. That transaction speed was too slow. That cost was too high per transaction, and it just wouldn't scale. So we decided to pivot away from there. The dream remained dormant, but it was always burning at the back of our minds. And then Steve called me up a few months ago and said, look, this is my vision for the Kadena blockchain. This is how I would do it. And this is why I think I've solved the missing piece. And I truly believe he did, by rewarding originators for their data. So when he called me and said, look, do you want to be part of this project? I said, yes, 100%. Tell me where to sign up.
Dude, Steve is badass, man. Like, to say the least, that guy his knowledge about this industry and what he is going to be able to build with your team on impact is it's going to be a big, huge game changer. I think everything from the speeds and the ability of you guys to execute transactions in real time, like right here, right now, with the transparency and the decentralization that a blockchain offers. It's revolutionizing the world, and I don't think there will be a single aspect of life that Kadena doesn't change. And you guys having that massive first mover advantage, and not just that, you're going to show the world what's capable on Kadena. So you guys are going to get so many eyes on your project outside of people that are interested in sports betting. People are going to be, consuming this content for the next probably 5 years, man.
I totally agree, Ryan. To me, this is, as much as it is a Kadena play, which obviously is the right blockchain for us to build on, what this really is about is bridging the real to digital world divide, and bringing people who aren't necessarily a daily digital asset users to utilize the Kadena blockchain, use our protocol, obviously. But I think that gaming is one of the easiest spaces to pull people over to this side of the world. So that's what we're focused on.
That's very impressive. And tell us a little bit about your backstory. What are you doing right now in the world of Web 2? And how do you plan to take your talent and skill sets from Web 2 and bridge those over into Web 3? And what is the main advantage of you guys moving to Web 3 from Web 2?
Yeah, great question, Ryan. So I have a history of growing and scaling companies, and currently I am president and CEO of a company called Lion Gaming. So what Lion Gaming does is we build sportsbook and casino solutions for those who want to transact in digital assets or via smart contracts. So I think really quickly you can see the parallels of Kdabet and Lion Gaming. But for how Lion Gaming will apply to Kdabet is we are going to help other operators, other sportsbooks, other exchanges build onto the Kdabet protocol and utilize that token. And we can also plug the token into our existing Web 2 user base of 45 plus brands. So there's a lot of synergies between the two projects. I do look at them as separate endeavors, but Kdabet definitely has extremely high potential, and we're excited to help bring the Lion Gaming team to contribute.
And when you said Lion Gaming, and you guys build user interfaces and things for casinos, can you explain a little bit more of what does that actually mean? What are you guys building? What type of talent do you guys have on your teams? And are these players that you're going to be utilizing to build things for Kdabet as well? And
yeah, exactly, Ryan. So Lion Gaming, we have 65 plus staff members. And what we essentially build is a sports book and a casino for any new operator. So if you wanted to have, let's say, Matta bets, for example, you'd come to us, we'd build you a sports book, and you'd just be responsible for marketing. We would give you everything you need from a software perspective. We're also doing really interesting stuff in the XR worlds, incorporating NFTs, building our own metaverse solutions where we can license a casino lounge, sportsbook lounge, and that's definitely something we're going to build for the Kdabet team as well.
That's going to be a game changer, man. I'm so impressed with the talent that your team has. Everything from legal to UI to marketing to the liquidity to players like Joey and talent like Steve. You guys are really putting something together here it's going to be hard to dethrone you. I always look at businesses that they say in the world of Web 1 and Web 2 that when you start a new business, you're an entrepreneur. When you're ahead of your time, you make groundbreaking changes like eBay, right? eBay got 2 years or 3 years before Amazon came. They say that a first mover advantage gives you about 2 to 3 years. After that, you have competition coming in. Once you guys make this stronghold on the market, to dethrone you or disrupt you will be very, very difficult for any other. Like FanDuel, I don't think we'll be able to just come in, build something similar and take that throne from you guys, because you're going to have so much value. There won't be any value proposition for anybody to leave and do it on anywhere else.
You know, Ryan, I completely agree. So when Steve asked me to be part of the project, I was excited. He had me at hello. But when I started to see the team members coming in, I thought, okay, this is actually a dream team, and it's not just because we have different skill sets. It's that we're at the top of the industry in our respective spaces. So what we're going to do for Kdabet is not going to be limited to building the bet fair of the Web3 world. We're actually going to convince people who are in the Web2 world, who use sportsbooks and betting exchanges, to come over and use our project. And it's not just because it's new and innovative, but it actually makes logical sense. They get added value by using what we're building. The other thing is, from the Lion Gaming perspective, our ethos is always to customize and to build really innovative stuff. And that's going to carry over to Kdabet. Steve and I already have lots of nights where we're chatting about how a potential Betfair reimagined for the Kdabet world can look in a metaverse play. So that's cool stuff that we're going to build for the Kdabet community and hopefully release sooner than later.
Whoa, I never thought about that. A virtual metaverse online casino or sports betting where you could put on a VR headset and literally walk up to a sports book, a bar. You could interact with your friends and other bookies. You guys could all be watching games together inside of it. Wow, that'd be cool as hell, man.
It's stuff we're already building, man, and it's stuff that I think will really take the experience to a whole new level, right? Like you said, you can have a beer with your friend. You can exchange a bet through the betting exchange engine, and you guys can watch the game together.
That's crazy, man. The wheels are spinning in my head, so I won't go too far down that rabbit hole because I know your time's tight. But has your company, Lion Gaming, built any other games that people could take a look at? Or what were some of the bigger products that you guys have worked on already?
Yeah, so we build our own sports books and casinos, and a lot of our operator clients don't like us telling people that we're the technology supplier because they want to keep us to themselves. So I won't drop any names, but we're building really interesting stuff. A lot of Web3 plays, including XR builds and NFT interactions. But you'll see a lot of good news coming from Lion Gaming in the next few months. But Kdabet, to me, this is just unbelievable project to be a part of.
What is your skill set as far as being the attorney? Are you more so going to be the attorney for the Kdabet team? Or are you going to be, or is Lion Gaming going to be associated with it too? How do those two connect?
Yeah, so I don't like to say that I'm ever going to be the lawyer for the project. I don't think that's my role. I think having a legal background helps navigate some of the potential pitfalls. But for me, look, I'm an operator. I help build and scale companies. That's what I've always done. That's what I'm going to do with Kdabet. Lion Gaming, to me, is there. When it comes to the Kdabet project, we're going to help other people adopt this technology and build onto the protocol. But really, Kdabet is the star of this solar system.
Walk me through what it's like, I guess I would say. Like when you start up a startup company and you're going through the process and say there's 10 steps. What step is Kdabet at, and how do you scale a business? Just tell us a little bit more about what it's like actually building a startup company. You've taken several to multi-million-dollar companies now, if I'm correct, right?
Correct. Yeah. You know what? It's the hardest, most rewarding, biggest roller coaster ride you'll ever go on. There's times when you just want to look in the mirror and cry, and there's other times when you just want to celebrate, and that might all be within the same day or even the same hour. It's crazy. But you know what? It's an unbelievable journey, and I think the most important part is the people you're working with. And to me, we've got such a special team that we put together here with Kdabet. I love all the guys. You can see the talent they all have. But most importantly to me is we can sit down, have a beer together, and everyone's excited.
That's so cool. So what was the first business that you ever took that actually made it, that was successful?
Yeah, so I mean, definition of success changes the older you get. But the very first company I started was basically a WordPress site of where we were giving our picks for a different game. So if the New York Rangers would beat the Philadelphia Flyers or the Boston Celtics would beat the Golden State Warriors, we would give our opinion on that, we would sell that, and that's how we paid our way through university. So to me, that was a massive success.
Wow, dude, that's so freaking cool. What is it like when you, like, I've taken a couple companies now, but never to the big leagues, and I know the feeling, but just to give some motivation to some other people that might be building on Kadena or building in the crypto space, you know, a lot of long nights, a lot of long early mornings, long nights, you know, a lot of hard work, but the feeling of accomplishment that you get, what was it like for you when you first got a project that you either sold or finally got to that level where it changed the way you lived life? Like, what's that feeling like?
You know what, it's tough to describe, but what I will say is every day you have to look at the positives of it, even if you're being told no for the 200th time in a week, because there's still joy in that journey, right? You still have the ability to do that. You're working on something you're excited about. But when you finally do hit that end goal, it's funny, the the goalposts shift and you have a new goal that you're excited about. But you really got to enjoy every day.
I love that mindset, man. I love it. And when you're, I guess, taking a new company like this, what are some of the top priorities? Like what could kill a company dead in its tracks? What were some of the big setbacks that you've learned from? What mistakes you not want to make with Kdabet that you've made with other projects?
Yeah, so to me, the biggest thing is the people you're working with, and that's why I've kind of harped on that so far, is there has to be an implicit sense of trust, right? You need to know that this person will take care of you just like you're going to take care of them, but also they're going to get their work done just like you're going to. To me, that's the first thing that can tear a company apart. Obviously, ensuring you're doing everything in a regulatory compliant way is important. Your business plan is sound, but really it comes down to the people for me.
What would you say is going to be your biggest obstacle as far as this roadmap that you guys have lined out? What part of the roadmap do you think it's going to be the most difficult to get past? And how do you guys plan to survive a crypto winter or the most catastrophic economic collapse? What stands between you and you guys in greatness, I guess I should say?
Yeah, you know what? I don't want to sound overconfident, but this is the first project that I've been a part of where I don't really have fears, and that's mostly due to the team we have. I mean, you've got Steven and Martin Bailey, who are just top of their respective leagues when it comes to building these types of solutions. We've got wonderful UI UX people. We have network effects. We have honestly everything you would want in a team. Ultimately, it just comes down to execution, and I have full faith in our ability to execute. And in regards to your question about a crypto winter, you know what? I've been in the public market, so seeing stock prices go up and down. I've been in the crypto space since 2015, so I've seen every up and down there. To me, the prices of digital assets or shares don't really matter. It really comes down to the people who are building the project and their ability to execute. If we build Kdabet like we have envisioned, build all the technology, put all the incentives in place from a network effect, it doesn't really matter what the price of Bitcoin, Ether, Kadena is. People are going to want to use what we built.
And does this project get to a point, because everything's automated, everything's on chain, once everything's up and running, flying, you would have a small team of people that kind of do some marketing, a little bit of customer service, but end result being that the product's built, it scales, it does what it needs to do. Is there going to be a change in sports betting where anything like that would actually change? Or
no, you're absolutely right. We've got a big enough team now to actually execute on all of our vision. Sure, we might hire more people on the marketing side and branding, but ultimately it's going to be up to us to bring people over onto this network. And I think we can do that with the tokenomic incentivization we built into the project, but also obviously the scale of the networks we can bring to actually use the KDAB token and this protocol.
How hard is it to run marketing campaigns on search engines when you're in the online gambling space? Is that like something you have to have certifications and documents to approve, or it's so crazy I can't run a crypto ad to promote my YouTube channel that says, hey, I'm Ryan Matta, I teach crypto, want to learn more about crypto? Click that button. Nope, that's not allowed, right? But I see FanDuel, I see all these sports betting, gambling, come here, spend your life savings in 30 minutes, lose it all. They get out, they're cool with it, but I can't. So what's your experience like marketing an online gambling project?
Yeah, so it depends where you hold a gaming license from, and that'll kind of dictate what search engines you can advertise on. For example, you can't do a Google AdWords campaign with certain licenses in certain jurisdictions, but if you obtain other licenses and show proof of that, that's no issue. So it's just another regulatory hurdle that you have to navigate.
And you've already experienced navigating that. So when it comes to marketing these types of projects, your team has a stacked lineup, right?
Yeah, we know where we have to go and how to get there. So now it's just about execution.
Jeez, oh Pete, man. Well, tell us a little bit more about the design of the tokenomics. We've covered this in quite a few videos already, but I might as well get every person on your team's take on it. So
yeah, you know what? The biggest thing for me is the liquidity pool, which obviously I'm sure you've covered with other people, but when people want to get money down on a game, you have to ensure they can get their money down. So that's what the liquidity pool is for. And then obviously the 70% allocated to mining, that's really incentivizing people who create good data, the line originators, which I'm sure you've talked at length with. to actually come use the network, to come use the protocol, because they get rewarded. A really simple example is if you're going to bet $100 on a game and you expect to, let's say, make 110 back. Well, now with the token, you get an extra reward above and beyond that. Why wouldn't you use this protocol? And that's essentially what the mining aspect of it is.
And how does that liquidity work? I know Joey and these guys have kind of explained it, but I guess I don't understand. If I want to place $100,000 bet, there has to be somebody that's willing to accept that bet, right?
Correct. So
so when I want to place that bet, how does, like, on a crypto token, I understand liquidity because there's people that have paid for it, right? You guys already have the coins staked over there. So what are your liquidity pools going to be? Will it be like a marker token where there's 500 Green Bay bets down, or how is that going to work out?
Yeah, basically in this industry, we call it seeding. So if somebody comes and they're putting a bet down and there's no one on the other side, they may just leave frustrated, right? They may not use your product again. And that's what we want to avoid. So obviously a lot of this is down to marketing and network effects and ensuring you get people to use your product. But in the early days, you may want to seed liquidity. So what that means is if somebody was to come, put that $100 down, there's no one on the other side, we may take that bet so that they're able to use the product and enjoy it. So that's really what the 5% is to help ensure that people always are able to get their money down, especially when the network's in its infancy.
And is that where you guys are going to use somebody like Joey, because Joey knows where money needs to go? So when he sees, say, $100,000 coming in for Green Bay Packers, he then has to determine whether you guys want to take that bet, or he needs to take it and figure out how to move that bet so everybody can play on your site.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So Joey brings the network. What I will say about the liquidity is it's not really about winning or losing a bet. It's just about ensuring everyone can get their money down.
Yep.
So we may take the Green Bay Packers, we may take the other side and take the Denver Broncos as well with that liquidity pool, just so people can actually get their money down and use the product and they don't leave frustrated because they weren't able to get their wager processed. So that's what the liquidity pool is for. Joey brings the network effects as well so that we don't have to do that at the end of the day.
So what happens if Joey decides to leave the project? Not saying that he's going to, but say he got in a car accident, say something happened to Joey. Where is this something that, like, okay, we got to make it through the first 6 months and then the network's going to get big enough where we're going to have multiple Joeys? So if one of them's not there, or is there any critical point of failure, I guess is the best way to say?
Yeah, so I personally don't think that's a critical point of failure. I'd be extremely sad. I love you, Joey. But no, we're gonna build enough or bring enough big bettors and networks onto this protocol that won't be a central point of failure. At its infancy, I think the best way to look at it is it'll help kickstart the project way faster than any of these other Web3 gaming plays get started. That's really what Joey's role is here. And then he'll help on the trading side, obviously, too.
Yeah, that's so sweet, man. It's so cool because I know nothing about sports betting, but I mean, I've played on the little apps before, but I suck at it. So I knew it was a sucker's game. I'm just not down to give my money away. But actually, the first time I ever played one, a guy came into my bar and I was bartending. I was bar managing this restaurant down in Fort Myers, and a guy came in. He's like, "Hey, I run this online sports betting thing." He's like, "I can give you I think he gave me like $100 for the first couple hundred free." And I turned it into, I hit a parlay, like a 17 parlay, and like on a $5 bet that paid me like $1,500. And let's just say I lost that $1,500 in like a week. I thought I found my, ticket to the Lambo, right? I'm like, oh, this is easy, man. I only bet $5. I'm bound and determined to hit at least 1 out of 10. If I just hit 1 out of 10. And then I lost like the next 50 in a row, man. And my bets kept getting bigger and bigger. I kept going, oh, $5, I'll bet 10 on this one,
Yeah, that's called the gambler's fallacy right there. Is you win once and you think you can reproduce it over and over. But look, it's not really about making money from individual players, which I think is important to distinguish. We're not the house, right? We're not a sports book where it's us against you. We're a betting exchange that's built onto a decentralized protocol. So really it's you betting against me, not you betting against me as the sports book, but me as the individual. So we're not cheering on you to lose. We're just cheering on transactions using the network. And obviously that helps stress test the Kadena blockchain, but also ensure the viability of this project long term.
What does a sports bet, as far as like your Web2 applications, as far as transactions per day, What would be the amount of transactions that just one project like this would be bringing to Kadena?
I mean, companies like Betfair, they're doing millions. So for us on the Kadena blockchain, if we reach the heights that we hope to, you're going to see hundreds of thousands of transactions within hours, especially when there's big events like March Madness or the Super Bowl, obviously.
Holy shnikes. So like in a day, you guys are going to be doing over 100,000 transactions in a day?
You know what? That's definitely the goal for us. I mean, on some of our brands, we've got millions of users. So I don't know why Kdabet is going to be any different.
Jeez, oh Pete, man, how long is it going to take you guys to get this thing to market?
Yeah, you know what? You got to ask Steve, but he's hard at work every single day with Martin building something unbelievable.
I think I did ask him. I just forgot. So I was hoping you guys had like a ballpark date. Are we looking at like 6 months or 12 months?
Yeah, I'm not the guy to leak it without everyone else signing off on it. But you know what? We're excited for what 2022 is going to bring.
Heck yeah, man. Dude, that's sweet. Duncan, man, thanks so much, man, for coming on the show. It's an honor to finally actually get to meet your team and have the opportunity to interview you guys. Anything else that you want to cover? Any other questions? Anything I'm not missing? Or I'll go all day if you got time, but you know, I know you're so busy, so I want to respect your time.
Yeah, I'm all good, and I sincerely appreciate you bringing me on. It was actually a lot of fun talking to you, and I love the show. So we're excited to see what the future brings for you and for us.
Duncan, man, it's an honor to have you on the show, man. And anytime you want to come back, you guys got any big announcements, even if flying games, you want to come on and talk more about, you know, games that you're working on in the blockchain industry or crypto space, man, anytime. Offer's always on the table, man.
Well, I appreciate that, Ryan.
Thanks, Duncan. Have a great day, buddy. Appreciate you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thanks.